Hello, hello. Hopefully the lighting is okay. I'm in the studio for napping. So I will be napping today. And I will start napping on every live stream. Yes, yes. Everyone, well, almost everyone, it looks like, responded to the poll. Thomas is here. Hey, hey. And people wanted to see more napping. So I'm going to do more napping. I had to rush to get ready. Yeah. Because I took a little nap and I slept just a little bit long. Yeah, after I posted the auction. Jordan's here. Hey, how's it going? All right, so my name is Patrick. The channel name is Jack Crafty. I do live streams 3 times a week. Aaron is here. Alan Cole is here. JF Baird is here. Christian Tibbetts. Hey, hey. Good to see everybody. I don't need both gloves. I'm going to be napping some chert today from Sal. Yeah. It's a heat treat. It's not amoeba chert, and it's not root beer. It's just regular translucent chert. Heat treat. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, I had to rush to get ready to do the live stream. Normally I wear my jeans or something better than this. Oh well. You ever know about these Flintknapping episodes? I'm going to make a mess today. Yeah, I didn't extend my drop cloth all the way out, so I'll be doing lots of sweeping. Let's see. Nice napping on a Monday live. Yes, I'm going to be napping every live stream. Yep. As long as I get the lighting correct. Let's see. Mike Mason is here. Mike Tufts is here. Hello. Hey, hey. I forgot my little pad for sitting on too. Anyways. Okay. Using a Mike Tufts bopper. This one is a 14 ounce. Now, this heat treat from Sal is pretty good stuff, but he said he lightly heat treated it, so it's still a little bit tough, I think. Jesse's here. Dalton is here. Thomas H. Just finished a stemmed point from some raw agate I found in Colorado. I absolutely do not recommend napping it unheated, and I have learned my lesson. Haha. Yes. Napping on auction Monday. Okie dokie, partner. Says Alan Cole. Yeah, I'll be napping now on every live stream. Yeah. Yep. Even on Friday night. And hopefully the lighting works out. Right now it's pretty light out, and I've got lights in the back. I've got lights up on top, and the windows are not covered up. And the sun is still out partially. We still have an overcast day, but we'll see how it works. Yeah, we'll see how it works. The weather is kind of cool. Now, the way I'm starting this out, it could be a hand axe very soon. It's got that. I might just make a curdle knife out of it and make it easy for myself. It's got that perfectly rounded end to it. Let's see. A lot of the mics are here. Yes. Mic 1 and mic 2. Like thing 1 and thing 2. Dr. Seuss. Kind of reminds me of that. Yeah, we should try that. The new people won't know what we're talking about. Yeah, so in the polls that I posted, I asked what you would like to see on the live streams. And everyone said, more napping. Okay, so I'm going to do more napping. Let's see here. That's where I would stop. I was thinking the same thing. I'll check the chat every once in a while, but if I miss something, I apologize. I'm not going to be paying too much attention to the chat. I've got actually 2 pieces to nap today. This one here is going to be a hand axe, I think. I think people like the Kerrville knives, so I'm just going to stop at what looks like a Kerrville knife. It's all percussion work. And then I'll nap the other one. There is some braiding going on, though. Okay, let's see who else we got. Ed Gould is here. Jim Cooper, hey. Those polls were kind of hard to choose the options, yeah. But you can put if you have your own option, just stick it in the comments section and say, I want choice number 5, and here's choice number 5, and I vote for it. So yeah, you can put your own choice in the comments. Even if you voted for one of the things in the choices, you can still put your 5th choice down in the comment section. Yeah. And you can also suggest another poll, like you should have asked these 5 questions or these 4 questions. It only allows me to ask 4 questions, okay? So just put in, you can do your own little poll in the comment section and tell me to post it. Like, post these 4 questions, not your dumb questions. These 4, and then you just list what you want to see. As an idea, you don't have to do it that way. I mean, you don't even have to do that. I'm just saying. All right. So this might be a little difficult right there. I'm gonna have to do it indirect to pop that out of there. Let's see. Some nice points in the auction, says Ed Gould. Thank you. Red-Eyed Patriot, Michael is here. I just snapped a nice piece of Flint River from Sal, and it's all Mike's faults. Which Mike? We don't know. Mike 1 or Mike 2, the thing 1 or thing 2, or Mike 3 or Mike 4. I don't know. You got to count this mic here. Right? Everyone smash the like button, yes, says Alan Cole. Jim Cooper says, did you have a chance to give a listen to that author I suggested? You got to name the author because I can't remember these things. Even if it was yesterday. I did watch a video, but I don't know if that's what you meant. Or if I need to listen to a book. Yeah, I don't know. You got to ask me again, Jim, more specifically, because I can't remember. Even if I did, I might not even remember if I did or not. I had any more specifics. Let's see. What did I miss? Smash the like button. Okay. I made my first napping vid, says Jesse. I was nervous at first. Felt weird filming myself, then finally relaxed and got her done. Good. You mean mic number 2? I don't know. Let's see. I don't know who's mic number what. Okay. We're like the Corsican brothers. I guess it's all our fault. Andrew Muntz is here. Sup? Jim Cooper, Patrick F. McManus. Let's see here. Mike Mason. I'm going to do a short in the sickest PowerPoint you have ever seen in action this summer sometime. Yeah, do a PowerPoint video and let's see all the aggression just be put to good use. Yeah. Hat Humor Writer, I sent you the links to that humor writer I sent you the links to last week. Okay, the humor writer, the humorous guy. No, I did not. I don't think so. Let me think here. The humor writer last week. I don't think I ever saw that. But I just hold on, because it could come back to me any second. Yeah. But no, I don't think I saw that video with the humor or the humorous stuff. I don't remember looking at any humorous stuff last week. It was all serious. Yeah. Except for the stuff I like to look at. Some of the people that I follow on Instagram. Some of the humorous stuff. I follow humorous people on Instagram. Yeah. So, not all of them are humorous, but that's where I follow. Man, these flakes are going places where I don't even know where they're ending up. Let's see. I'm going to do a short. Okay, let's see. Keep chipping and posting, Jesse. I'll be sure to share. Yeah, you guys can share each other's videos. Jim Cooper says, I was right before the picture. It was right before the picture of the Hoko knives we talked about. Okay. Yeah, I think I remember the email. I just don't think I looked up that humor writer. Let me see. Okay, hold on a second. Let me see. No, that's the wrong Jim or James. Because some of you guys are communicating with me on Instagram Messenger too. Okay, there's two Jims on Instagram Messenger, right? Oh yeah, the two posts. It looks like the Good Samaritan strikes again and never sniff a gift fish. Patrick F. McManus. Okay, nope, I didn't look at those. I did not look at those. Not yet. Yeah, there's like two gyms in my Instagram and like three gyms in my emails, all different. So sometimes I get them mixed up. Hopefully it's not. I'm not offending anybody by forgetting people's names and who's who. Let's see. Mike Mason says, Jesse, did you do that thing I always do? Huh. Okay, let me see. Did I miss anything? If there's a super chat, I'm going to do those first and try to answer those first. Let's see. If I miss something in the chat, I apologize. I'm not going to pay too much attention to everything. Yeah, don't cave the bopper in. I'm going to abuse the bopper, and we're going to see how long it survives. That's the whole point, right? Yeah. Jeff Jin is here. Hello. Aaron Wilson is here. Hey, Mike Tufts, I was hoping to order some boppers. Do you have a link to the website I can look up? Yeah. If he doesn't tell you, it's he sells his stuff on Flintknappingtraditions.com. Flintknapping Traditions with an S.com. If Mike Tufts doesn't provide you with a link, I'll do it. Yeah. Or you can ask me to do it. I got the info. Yes, I do. If anyone wants to know anything about what Danny Collins is selling or Mike Tufts is selling, I got the info. Those guys are sponsoring the channel, so I got all that info. Yeah. And they comment in the chat too, which is awesome. Okay, so are we close enough to the Kerrville knife type thing? I'm going to sharpen this up a little bit, make it a little more pointy, and then we'll move on. Easy peasy, easy peasy. I'm going to probably cheat and use a lot of the indirect percussion to get this looking nice and fancy. Yes, yes. Okay, okay. Yeah, that did a good job on that one. Oh, I hit my thumb with that one. Right on top. All right, let's see. It's a solid head bopper or a cap. Jim Cooper. This is a solid with lead filled. It's not solid copper. It's lead filled, but it feels solid. Yeah, it's heavier than copper, I'm pretty sure. But it's a cap with lead. It's a cap that's rounded and then filled with lead and then glued to the wood. So it's heavy. Let me see. Jim Main is here. Hello. Mike Tuff's boppers are built Ford tough, says Jesse. Yes. Dalton says, I asked the wife if I could heat some stone in the oven after having heard you talk about it. She promptly shut the idea down. Mac Bales is here. Howdy, folks. Dalton says, now I'm developing a strategy to heat treat in my Weber kettle grill. Yeah, do that. See how it works. Just as long as the temperature doesn't go up or down very fast. Mike Tuff says, I remember you talking about the last chat, Aaron. Did you send me an email or check on Danny's website? Smallzilla says, is Patrick making a Cumberland 14 inches long? No jig? Yeah, I wish. I will make Cumberlands eventually, and with no jigs. I think I'm getting used to the freehand fluting. The flutes won't be all the way up to the tip. Smallzilla says, what's up? Harley is Smallzilla. Aaron Wilson says, Danny is out of stock for a couple of weeks. Okay. So yeah, Mike Tuff's Danny's out of stock, it looks like. Jordan Kirkpatrick says, oh snap, I should have checked before I commented. Let's see. Jim Cooper says, cool, that's what I use. I think you're talking about the bopper. Let's see. Dalton McCormick says, I was reading on the Puget Sound Nappers page a post about using a wood burning stove, so I think I'm going to use the same idea. Yeah. Put a temperature gauge on the wood burning stove so you know the heat level. Temperature gauge, just like what you use on a barbecue grill. They sell them on Amazon for cheap. Smallzilla says, or Harley says, I got myself some new grow lights for the plant shelf. 3D printed the mounts. Also got a display hutch for my arrowheads I make. Oh, I see. Can't wait to display them. I'll email pictures when I'm finished. Awesome. Jeff Ginn says, I miss seeing you nap with that big aluminum cylinder bopper. I always thought the technique you used with it was so neat. Oh, thanks. Yeah, I did that for a while, and I switch over when I get a little bit tired of the tool, or I think I've reached my limit with it, or someone requests something else, so I try to move on. Yeah. People were requesting that I do bopper and copper napping. Why don't you do copper? I mean, everybody does it. What's wrong with you? Okay, fine. I'll do copper. I want to see if you do it differently. Right? They want to see if I do it, if there's a different way to do it. And oh, yes. There's different ways to do all kinds of stuff. Oh, yeah. That one took off some copper. What's difficult about the Kerrville knives is avoiding the step fractures where it goes from thin to thick. And I just got a crush on there too. See, I'm trying to do fancy knapping, and when that happens, it's step fractures and crushings. What's fancy? Trying to do like a sculpting so to straighten it because it looks lumpy on one side. So I'm trying to take a lump out of the other side or out of one of the sides. It doesn't like when I try to do fancy stuff like that. Okay, so I'm gonna have to blast away a lot of that crunchy stuff, if possible. Yeah, like that. Yeah, like that. Now I scooped it. Yeah. See, it looks even now on both sides, but I kind of scooped it on this side where I was hitting. But I think it looks all right. It doesn't. It has a step fracture right there though that I don't like. But it gets hard and concretey in the middle. It looks like. Yeah. It looks like that's where it's headed. That just made the blade a little bit longer. The sides of the blade a little bit longer when I hit that piece off. But that's about as far as I'm going to go with that one. I'm going to try to take that step fracture out. If you have a question and I'm not getting to it, I apologize. I'll see if I can backtrack and find all the questions. I did something I haven't done in years. I hit my thumb with the mallet, not just a few minutes ago, and it's still sore. I haven't done that in years. I have not hit my hand with the mallet in years. Okay. I'm swinging extremely hard. Yeah, there we go. Okay. I got the step fracture out. Let me just clean it up a little bit. I think these had a rounded tip, not pointy. This one's kind of pointy right now. I'll hum when there's some dead air when I'm not talking or anything, because I don't like there to be dead air or no sound at all. I need to figure out how to put nature sounds in the background. Yeah, that'd be cool. A little recording device with nature sounds. No, dude, just open the window. Just open the window, dude. I don't like to open the window because, like last time I was on, last video, I had the shop door open, and the neighbor lady was yelling, and I was saying, "Not on the video, no, please." So that's what happened. If I open the windows, someone's going to be yelling, or we're going to hear some kind of conversation going on. So this is a little bit lopsided because this still has a lot of mass on this side, but I don't want to mess with it. So that's a Kerrville knife. I'll offer it at one of the auctions. Yeah. But not this auction. You know, I might modify it further to take it down thinner, but I like it. Okay? Kerrville knife. It has that beautiful rounded area. Yeah. Makes it easy to do the chopping and stuff. All right, what did I miss? Okay, got myself some new grow lights. I've seen that one. I might get the aluminum billet out again to do aluminum again, but I got burnt out on aluminum. Mac Bale says, I heat treat with a propane grill I got at Bass Pro Shop for $99. I can go from 200 to 800 degrees Fahrenheit. Has heat control. Works good for me. That's a good idea, actually. Propane grill. Yeah. But, is it going to go for 4 hours? You need 4 hours to do the heat treat minimum. Last time I had a gas grill to barbecue stuff, and my propane tanks will only last an hour and a half. And I don't know if I get ripped off or there was a leak, but I had 2 different propane tanks, and I think there might have been a leak in the grill itself, which, looking back, was probably kind of dangerous because I didn't know where the leak was. I tested everything. But anyway, it could only cook for an hour and a half. So if it works for you, if you can get a 4-hour cook on it with a propane tank, that's awesome. I've got to try that and see if maybe it was just my luck. My propane tanks, after filling them up full, would only last an hour and a half on my other grill. Anyways, Jim Cooper says, Dalton, I use my wood stove and I just bury spalls and flakes in the ashes and have good results with that. Yeah. But the highest of the temperature stones like novaculite or mookaite, except for those. Okay. Jim Cooper says, you can blow up and ruin low temperature stones like agate or Edwards Church. I usually make sure there's at least an inch or so of ash or better, or yet sand in the fire and the spalls. And this is for the wood stove. Yeah. Let's see. Where am I? Aaron Wilson says, I used to hit my hand with the mallet as well, but I quit doing it because it hurt too much. That's not why you're supposed to stop doing it. You're supposed to stop doing it because you're not doing it right. If you hit yourself, yeah, you can stop it for that reason, but that's why it's funny. I know. I found out what I think is an agate fairly big, says Mike Mason, about the size of my fist. I looked up Jack Crafty agate and drooled over the thumbnails. So you have something you think is an agate? Well, that's good. Yeah. Heat treat that. Sal is in the house. Well. What's going on here? Rock looks familiar. Yeah, this is one of yours, Sal. And so is this one. The next one I'm going to be knapping. This one turned out to be a Kerrville knife. Yep. Watch the replay after the live stream is done. Perfect end on this one for a Kerrville knife. So, and it started to get kind of crunchy in the middle. It's a little bit concretey, so it works perfect for this. And then this one is much higher grade amoeba chert. So I'll be knapping this next if I can keep up with the chat. Everybody should have a Kerrville knife, says Mike Tufts. Yes. Jordan says, Mike Mason, agates in all forms. I'm sure you've got a good one. Yeah, agates, there's a huge variety of agates out there. Jesse says, if people want more napping in the lives, we will have to let you do your thing and not bug you so much with a million questions. Yeah, but it's also question and answer time. It's because people sometimes they don't get answers quick enough. Jesse gave me $5 super chat. Thank you. Yeah, I can answer questions fast. Some people ask a question in a regular comment section and they don't get an answer in 5 minutes. They go to some other place and ask the question somewhere other place and never come back and check. Or they're doing so much interactions with other channels that their notifications that their question got answered gets lost somewhere in there, right? I've had people that ask me questions and I answer, but I never get a response or another Okay, thanks, or a like or anything on the answer, so I don't know if they see it or not. This way I know that you've seen it if I answer it. As an example, that's one way that this is useful, I think. Let's see, MacBale says, I use an adapter to use 20 pounds or 40-pound propane tank. 20-pound lasts about 10 hours. I see. Has anyone on YouTube ever built an electric kiln? Built from scratch, electric kiln? There's plenty on YouTube. Just if you look at the pottery guys that have built their own kilns for pottery, it's the same kiln. A pottery kiln is what the knappers use. And there is videos on building pottery kilns, electric pottery kilns from scratch, buying all the components and building it yourself, because you need a temperature regulator and a heating element and that kind of thing, and a dial and all that stuff. And you can buy all those things separately or even together and just build your kiln out of the fire brick stuff. I've seen videos on it. Yeah, Alan Cole says, Sal is here. I was on vacation and just saw that I won a point you made from a flake. Nice. Buckskin NYB is here. Or Marty's here. The aluminum billet and the la 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 technique. Yeah, people want to see the aluminum billet and the la 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 technique. Mike Mason says, I will send a pic of the agate later. Heat treat seems to be the plan for it. I appreciate everyone talking about heat treats because of that. Yeah. Yeah, Jesse's, he usually does give me a super chat every time. It's awesome. Thank you, Jesse. Thanks for making the hand axe or the curvebell. I wanted to see that. Oh, you're welcome. Yeah, this one, when you find them in Texas, they're called curvebell knives, but it's a hand axe, basically. We're not sure exactly what they're used for, but these are from the South, right? These are from Texas, and I think curvebell knives are Central Texas. Anyway, I don't think they were for butchering. But they might have been. See, the blade is kind of thick and sturdy. So I think the curvebell knives were used for some sort of plant processing. I don't know. That's just me. They could have been used, but see, in Central Texas, they used flat blades like, what do they call them? Harahey knives and that sort of thing for butchering. I think these are in the same time period as Harahey knives. I got to look at my book. Let me see. Do I have time to get my book and look in there? Let's see. Charles Rooker's here. Hello from southwestern Pennsylvania, tri-state area. Not that far from here. I'm in Vermont, by the way, if you're new. You don't know this kind of stuff. Some people might say, wait a second, I saw your videos 10 years ago and you were in Texas with dogs and birds. I'm not in Texas with dogs and birds anymore. There's birds here, but not like there was over there. The grackles in Texas were terrible, noisy. They have grackles here, but they don't sound like grackles. They're weird. And I can't have dogs here because I don't have a fence, and I can't have my dogs in the house because I'm allergic to dogs. I got 3 scrap dryers in my scrap pile, water heaters for shell. What does that mean, Mike? Let's see. Charles says the Ohio River gives up flint and jasper cobbles if you know what to look for. Not abundant, but doable. That's interesting. Ohio River. Let's see. Charles says I enjoy the bells in the background. Yeah, that's the one thing about living here is the bells from the church just a little ways down the road. It's like 3 houses down the road. I see the steeple right in my backyard. I can just look up and there's this huge steeple. Jesse asks, is the aluminum billet the small stubby one with the flat front you would angle in slightly? Yes, that's it. I saw you peel some good flakes off in some older vids. Yeah, it works pretty good. Let me get my Texas big red book. Hold on. It's just right here somewhere. I need to look up to see if the Harahay knives are the same time period as the Kerrville knife. It's this book here because everyone says, what book is it? You're killing me with not showing me the book. So I showed you the book. I know I didn't show you long enough, I know, but you're just gonna have to take a screenshot. All right? You know how to do that. If you don't, just ask a fifth grader. Yeah. Okay. I need to look up Kerrville knife because I forget the time period. It's not that. I got some bookmarks in here, but let me see if that is where it should be. I got it on the corner tag. All right, these are in alphabetical order. LMNOPQ. Let me see. Yeah, these are in alphabetical order. All right, so let's see if it's in the back. If it's not in the back of this book, it's in the front. Multi-notched early. Okay, Kerrville bifaces. They're called, in this book, they're called Kerrville bifaces. Yeah, take a snapshot. Screenshot. I don't know if that was clear enough. Anyways, this is not actual size, right? This is like, or maybe it is. Sometimes they'll say it's not actual size. But see, if that's actual size and mine is in line, sort of kind of with it. See that? And the tip is rounded. See that, how rounded? Mine is a little bit too pointy, but don't worry. It'll get less pointy if I use it. Yep. Okay. And yeah, Central Texas. See what that little blob is right here on the map of Texas? Okay. So it says Central and South Central Texas in the lower Pecos. That's where they're found. Late Archaic, 650 to 300 BC. All right. Now let's see if they have got Harahay knives in here somewhere. So late Archaic. I had a feeling they were pretty recent. Scrapers. Oh, they don't have Harahays in here. Yeah, they don't. Dang it. All right. GH. No, they don't. I don't see them. Let's see. How about in the front? Sometimes they have stuff in the front that they don't have in the back because they're so organized. Yeah, I don't know. Anyways, now you know the time period. If I look up Harahay knives in this, maybe I can do it. Jim Cooper says, it could be an all-purpose tool used for a bit of everything because it does not take much skill to manufacture compared to other tools. It seems to be able to do many jobs sufficiently. Yeah, I used to always agree with that. Multi-tool is the best explanation. It includes finished points that look like projectile points, or yeah, it looked like a projectile point, but it could be a knife. It could also be a scraper. It could also be a pendant, that you use once in a while for various odds and ends, especially processing fish or processing other meats. Small game, you can have something hanging on your neck and you take it off and you process a fish or small game with it, stick it back on your neck. Larger game will probably require something like this, just because it makes it so much easier to dig into these big hunks of meat if you've got like an elk or something. But or a bison. This might be better for bison than a big flake. I don't know. I have yet to butcher a large animal like a bison or a bear with stone tools. I've done elk with stone tools, and it's fine. With smaller stone tools and flakes, you can do a pretty good butchering job on an elk with just a flake of this size. You open up the hide and all that, and then you can separate muscle, and you can pull muscle apart with your hands and then get in there. You don't need a flake much larger than this to process elk. But bison, I'm not sure. And then bear or something large like that, I don't know either. The hides might be a lot thicker on these other animals like bears and mountain lions and stuff, although mountain lion's not that big. But yeah, I used to say all-purpose is the best answer, but now I'm thinking, no, I think everything is more specialized than that. Yeah, my tendency now is to say that it's probably more specialized than an all-purpose tool. Yeah. The flakes are the all-purpose tool. They already had an all-purpose, and that's called a utilized flake. This is, throughout all time periods, the most common tool by far of any stone tool is the utilized flake. That is your multi-tool. If you want something specific, you make a specific tool. That's why I'm gravitating more toward the idea that if it's not a flake, it's a specialized tool. This is the multi-tool. And again, for those of you that didn't hear it because I'm talking too fast, I know that's not very many of you. This is the most common stone tool of any tool throughout in the entire human history by far, the utilized flake. And that includes up to the very last minute of the Stone Age. Utilized flakes, okay, are the by far. What do I mean by far? By tonnage, by the amount of weight, by the number of the tools, the utilized flake. There's 100 of these for every one of these, at least. Okay, there are hundreds and thousands of these. Sometimes they find literally thousands of utilized flakes on sites throughout all time periods, through old world and new world, everywhere. Okay, enough of that. So if they already had all-purpose tools. That's the moral of that story or that explanation. They already had multi-tools, and it was called a utilized flake. That's the multi-tool. So if this doesn't look like a utilized flake, it's a specific function tool. Yeah, that's my opinion. Why do I say opinion and not fact? Because it should all be opinions. Yeah, test me on that and prove me wrong. If I'm wrong, I want to know. Let's see. If that's Texas, that little blob is probably the size of Ohio. Yeah. On the map in the page of the book, yeah. It's a large area. Yes, it is. It's probably larger than Vermont. Yeah. Jim Cooper says, an earlier and simpler all-purpose tool used for the sake of expediency and or when more specialized tools were either not ready to hand or not obtainable. An earlier and similar and simpler all-purpose tool used for the sake. You've been reading too much online, Jim Cooper. Ed Gould says, they're working on site in Wyoming that's like 16,000 years old. Awesome, yes. There are sites now that have reliable dates that are older than 12,000 years, yeah. And everyone got sad because Clovis wasn't first. I don't like this. This Clovis not first no more. Now there's thousands of pages of Clovis first articles that are nothing but trash. That's what you get. Yeah. Alan Cole says, I reckon that's a reproduction from the heart of Texas. Scott Lauer's here. Hey, Pat, and hey, Chippers. Hey, Scott. Scott's from the UK, in case you don't know. Yes, everyone's saying hi. Keith Ricketts gave me $5 as a super chat. Thank you, Keith. Thank you. Let's see. Jim Cooper says, but you can chop down a sapling or rough out a tool handle, and if all you want to carry is one tool, the hand axe is large enough to remove a flake for a tool if a finer cutting edge is needed and allows you to carry a large tool with the ability to make more specialized tools from it as needed. Well, yeah, you can knock off a flake from this to make a little flake tool. Yeah. All that is part of the thought experiments. But if you actually take stuff into the back 40 or whatever, and you want to chop down a tree, or you want to chop down some wood, and you're actually living in a wild area and near water, you go, let's see, do I take that beaver cut down tree, or do I cut my own tree down with this? No, I'm not going to do that. This took me forever to find and make and have skill to make. The beaver already cut down that tree. How do I know that beavers do that? I don't know. I always steal beavers' wood that they've cut down. Always. And they're everywhere here. Yeah. And I've seen them munch on it too. You can watch them debark a piece of wood and then scare them away and take that wood. And this is already debarked. That's pretty cool. And I stole it from little goober. Yep. And it only takes them like 5 minutes to do it. I've seen them go from sapling to munched piece of wood, stripped of all the bark in 5 minutes. They cut it down, it falls over, they cut the top off, they cut the branches off, and they start munching. They turn it around like a big corn cob, almost like a cartoon. I'm sitting there watching, and then if you walk up to them, they at least leave the stick and they swim away. So you pick up the stick. Easy peasy. I didn't need to use this at all to cut it, to remove the branches, or to debark it. The beaver did it. Yeah. Let's see. Jim Cooper says, it's more than the internet. I've done practical experiments and found there's a lot of advantages to carrying a hand axe type of tool. Really? Whenever I carry one of these things out there, I don't want to use it for anything because I don't want to ruin it. I'm only going to use it for specialized things because I don't want to lose it, for one, while I'm doing a lot of different things. And number two, it gets worn out fast. Yeah. So I use it for delicate things that I need to cut that are delicate. And if I can just have a little bag of flakes that I carry in addition to this. So I have the opposite result. When I take stuff to the field, I don't ever use this stuff if I don't have to. I'll break up wood by hand. I'll look to see what beavers have been doing. I'll pick up shavings from right where the beaver's been eating wood and stuff, or chopping down trees. They leave these piles of wood chips and shavings and so-called shavings. I hardly ever use the tools that I bring out to the field for doing stuff, if I can find another way to do it. Yeah, because these are very precious, that unless I'm right there at the quarry, it doesn't make any sense for me to use the tool for everything. That's my experience. Now, I'm not saying that that's your experience, but I used to think that way when I was only on forums, and they would talk about you can use flakes and tools for this, and you can bring a heavy bring an object like this with you to the field, and then remove flakes from this for tasks and stuff. But to remove flakes from this for tasks, you need to bring not only this, you need to bring this. So that's two things now. And then you got to sit and, oops, I made a mistake. Okay, where's my other one? I need my other bopper. So now you got to bring two boppers to make sure that you get the right size of flakes for what you want by using the right tool to knap with. And then let's say that you're doing this and it's kind of cracked and you're not getting good flakes and you're going, dang, these are not long enough for what I want. Right? I need to bring more stone with me next time. Yeah. Bigger ones. So then now you're going to carry bigger stones with you out to the field. And then on top of that, you're sitting there going like this at the campsite. And if you got somebody with you, you're like this, you're going, Hey, what are you doing over there? I'm making a tool. I'm making some, I'm bringing this big stuff so I can make little stuff because that's efficiency, right? No, dude, you just hit me in the eye with the flake. What are you flaking here for? Supposed to flake back there. Now you're throwing flakes in the campsite. This is the campsite. Yeah, but I want to make these little expediency and efficiencies. Yeah, I'm smart. I got this. I got my 2 boppers. I built myself up so I can carry lots of tools out in the field. Okay, what are you going to use that for then, smarty pants? What are you going to use this for? Oh, for a small game. Yeah. You got any small game? Dude, you know that when we get small game, we just kind of, rip off the skin. We just rip it off. Yeah, it's easy. The rabbit, you just rip it. Dogs that we catch in the trap, we just rip their heads off or rip their breasts out. Everything's just ripped. You know this, dude. Yeah, but I like to be efficiency. I hope it doesn't offend anybody for me to do that. I'm just saying, okay? I'm just putting it out there. Let's see. Scott Lauer says, I've got a box of bullhead in the past, Pat. Oh, we've got a box of bullhead in the past. David and I. Very, very excited. Praying it gets to you. Okay, good. Thanks. I'll be watching for that. Scott Lauer says, I'll mail you and explain some stuff. Okay. Dalton McCormick says, just want to put out in the chat again for everyone. You can download a copy of Yahi Archery for free due to its cultural significance. It's on the National Archive Database website. Yes, true, very true. I spent money on buying a hard copy book because I like to have the hard copy. Yeah, but you don't need to spend money. Jim Cooper says, that's all well and good in heavily wooded and watered areas where beaver are present. Yeah, but I don't know. You've heard of the fur trade, right? That was throughout the United States. And what were they trading? Furs mainly? Beaver. Yeah, because they were everywhere. Nowadays are not. Yeah. And if you're in a desert, let's say, you're right, okay. But if you're in one of those climates that doesn't have trees, doesn't have water, but much water, doesn't have all this kind of stuff, like the Apache Indians, if you read about Apache Indians and how they lived, they were minimalists for sure, because they had to travel many, many miles to do their hunting, to do their raids, because they did raiding parties and that kind of stuff. Their kit was very small. Okay, so they when they were able to trade for firearms and knives, they carry a rifle and a knife. Yes. Back in the day, before all that, they would carry their very minimal sized bows and arrows and quivers, and then probably a few flakes, just minimum. And this is an area where you don't have woods, you don't have lots of game, you don't have much of anything. Their kit was minimal. Okay. That's what I'm finding in areas that have no beavers, let's say. You have to travel far and wide to get what you want from base camp. It's a common thing, and that's why the Apaches and other Southwest Indians were able to outrun U.S. cavalry units, or they would not only outrun them, but they would outrun them by far. Yeah, the cavalry, even on horses, the best horses, couldn't catch a lot of these Southwest Indians when the Southwest Indians were on the move. Yeah, and it's because there isn't much there. You had to travel light if you want to travel far. That's the moral of that story. Let's see. Ed Gould says, I think the hand axe was the fist next to a club weapon of the ancients. Yeah, it was. The earliest hand axes seem to me to be the most useful as weapons because it gives you a distinct advantage over just a fist, even though you might be very good at fist fighting. This gives you a distinct advantage because you can slice, open up someone's arteries. Yeah. And not just in the neck. Yeah. Alan Cole said the smack talk is gold. I'm glad you think so. Sometimes I think I might be I might be embarrassing myself by acting stupid. Yeah. Well, it's probably true. Let's see. Smallzilla says, did they use those hand axes to carve large stuff out? I don't think so, no. Like canoes? No, I don't think so. Or maybe they didn't do that in that region, just throwing ideas out there. No, the canoes in the dugouts, they've already determined that the primary tool for that was the adze, A-D-Z-E, right? Adze for that. And then they either with or without using fire to help burn out the cavities in the dugout canoes. But a lot of studies on watercraft, Native American watercraft, they leave out rafts. Rafts. They leave that out as an option, as the primary mode of transportation, especially from one side of the river to the other. They leave out rafts. And they also leave out bundles of reeds. You can float out on a river or a lake by just hanging onto a bundle of reeds. And is that going to help you fishing? Well, if you have traps, weirs or traps, not weirs, but there's fish traps that you can set out. As long as you're not in alligator-infested waters, let's just say, you can hang on to a bundle of reeds and be swimming out and then check your traps. And then if you have like a net also, like a net bag, you just put the fish in the net bag and just keep on swimming with a bundle of reeds. Yeah. I know, simple, I know. Too easy. But for dugouts, the main tool that they found that they've been, there's a lot of research on that. They found that it's the adze, which is not this. Let's see. Scott Lauer says, hey, Rep, you're dropping some killer shorts. REP. Who's REP? You and Sal are killing it. Oh, Red-Eyed Patriot. Okay, I need to look at those shorts. Let's see. The basil thinning got me. What is this here? What did I miss? The natives did carry around a core blade for a fresh blade when needed, says Jesse. Archaeologists dismiss at times as debitage, but the blade off the core was the tool. Yeah, you can carry it around and take off blades. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying they didn't. I just wouldn't do it. Yeah. Aaron Wilson says, I was able to fit 32 pounds of obsidian in your package. Awesome. It's pretty good quality. Can't wait to see the unboxing. Indirect rods are 1/2 inch and 3/8 inch. And one rod and 5/16. Okay, awesome. Sounds great. Scott says, Pat, I got to nap heat treat root beer and novaculite and dacite. You guys are way, way too spoilt over there for material. Wow, man. Yes, we are very spoilt. Jim Cooper says, I spend a lot of time in the Southwest every year, so I'm very familiar with the native skills culture for that area. All righty. So do you agree or disagree? Red-Eyed Patriot. Anyone wants to send me some material, I'll gladly turn it into gravel and broken or belly net points. Yeah, send your stuff to Michael at Red-Eyed Patriot. Yeah. Jesse says, my great-grandfather is Yaqui from northern Mexico. At first, I thought I was related to Ishi. Whoops. Yahi, not Yaqui. LMAO. Wrong, guys. David De Lorenzo's here. They burnt the center of the canoe and then they could dig it out easier. Yeah, I've seen that done. Um, I'm sure that was not always done. It depends on the type of wood. Yeah. I swam back a nice channel cat from a trot line on a rapidly deflating blow-up kayak in the dark before. It was pretty fun. Phew, that sounds kind of scary, but yeah. Yeah, trot lines. There you go. That's one thing they used to make back in the day too, those trot lines. Smallzilla or Harley says, a question for you, Patrick. How did the natives control and designate their territory without any maps? How did they let other tribes know? Was it just spoken rules? Yeah, it was just spoken rules. Once you know the area, it's pretty easy to keep an eye out. You just send out patrols. One of the basic tasks of anyone who's been in the military is patrolling. So they send out patrols. So you send out enough patrols and you end up making trails. So the trails a lot of times end up right on the borders of the territory. So the trail is the border. And you don't even need to know exactly what the landmarks are. You just follow the trail and they mark the trails. And they learn how to mark trails and territories from animals, basically. They do the same thing. Animals do the same thing. We don't have a good sense of smell, but we can see signs. We can put marks on trees. We can pile rocks in different formations and stuff, and we know where the borders are that way. Even if it's heavily forested and we can't see anything else except trees, we can see the trail and see the little markers or hack marks on trees. Or I think they even used to hang stuff from trees, that kind of thing. Well, let's see. Scott Lauer says, Red-Eyed Patriot, the same here. I'll happily make almonds and marbles. Yeah, send stuff to Scott too. Let's see. Jim Cooper says, I agree, minimal kit. However, there is also a large agricultural culture amongst many tribes in the Southwest. Cliff dwellers, Pueblo Zuni, all utilized irrigation techniques and even evidence of livestock. Yeah, they had livestock in the form of turkeys, for example. Yeah, you're right about that. They domesticated the turkey in the Southwest. And I don't know if the domestication of turkeys went south from a northern origin or it came up from the south into the northern area, into North America. That I don't remember. But yeah, they domesticated turkeys. And I'm trying to think here. I think some tribes almost domesticated the black bear. We got close to domesticating black bears. Let's see, what else? I can't remember. Certain birds, certain tribes kept certain birds also that were not turkeys, but other things. And of course, in far South America, they domesticated the guinea pig, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, that kind of thing. But agriculture in the South